What's up, everyone? Welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is Crossover Commerce, presented by PingPong Payments, the leading global payments provider helping sellers keep more of their hard-earned money. What's up, everyone? Happy 2021. It feels fresh. It feels new. All sorts of excitement going on today. Welcome to another season of Crossover Commerce. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer of PingPong Payments, and I am so excited to get the season kicked off. I hope everyone had a great holiday season. We took a couple weeks off of this show before we came back, and I have a great slate of people already lined up for January. It's just going to keep building and building, and we're going to keep bringing great nuggets to you, the audience. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, this is called Crossover Commerce. I am the host. We've done 30 episodes in 2020 that brought great value, great nuggets of wisdom in both the e-commerce space and for Amazon sellers. And we're just going to keep iterating on that. If you have questions, if you have comments, if this is your first time watching or listening, go ahead and just submit those questions live as we're broadcasting this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Or if you catch this on another time, we can go ahead and answer those questions. Just tag us on social media, tag PingPong, tag the guest, tag myself, and we'll make sure that you get up and running too. But we'll make sure that all your questions get answered. But today is really cool. It's one of our returning guests. His name is Shane Oglow from prREACH. He's the president over there. Shane and I have been, talking constantly about different things in terms of advertising. And this is kind of one of the cool areas that I think is really going to take off for Amazon sellers here in 2021. And a lot of people need to be aware of it, aware of the processes, and also just how do you get involved in these kinds of things? And that's Amazon editorial content. So let me go ahead and bring in our first guest and unmute him right here. Or first guest, only guest today. Hey, Shane, what's up?
Hey, I'm the first guest of 2021.
Hell yeah. Season 2, we made it. I was renewed for a second season, so I wasn't, canceled for any reason. I don't know why, but my boss says, hey, keep it going. Keep bringing on more people. So I'm going to keep doing that. So, but yeah, your first guest of 2021. I know a lot of people are kind of coming back this week after, holidays and whatnot. So how are things for you over where you guys are at?
Yeah. Hey, everything is great here. Got a little cold, kind of minus 12 at night. Not too much snow. We're all hoping for more so that the skiing's a bit better. But yeah, everything's great. We're charging forward here 2021, man.
Yeah, I know. It feels almost like once it clicked over, you're like, oh, all our problems are solved. No more issues. I watch on New Year's Eve on Netflix. It was kind of funny. I was texting with a couple of people and we found the movie, it was on Netflix. I think it was Burning 2020 or something like that. What was wrong with 2020 or something like that. And then my wife and I, as we started it, and it's just all the series of events that kept happening, right? At first it was the forest fires in Australia and everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is devastating. And then we're like, wait, that happened this year? All these different events that accumulated, which made it feel 5 years of content, events, you name it. Yeah. We were just I can't believe this crap happened. It was a mess, but I think a lot of people's optimism kind of kicking into New Year's is kind of what this time of year is all about. So, but yeah, thanks for joining us today. I know we were kind of chatting before on our past show about, when we were talking about PR and how that's important for Amazon sellers. But I think this is kind of the area where a lot of people are not as familiar, but they've seen it. If you're a shopper, you've seen what we're going to be talking about appear in different search terms. Why don't you kind of introduce yourself again for people who haven't heard you or know who prREACH is, and then maybe kind of kick us off on a high level about Amazon editorial recommendations.
Sure. So I'm Shane Oglow, co-owner over at prREACH, and prREACH is we used to just do press releases, but now we're more of a vertically integrated media and public relations company. And the reason why we feel so strongly about what we do is both my partner and I, Norm, we've been in Amazon forever. So I used to do a lot of Amazon training, a lot of type of stuff. But I'm kind of a big proponent of getting out of the Amazon trap. And the Amazon trap is where, people are selling on Amazon. Hey, it might be going fantastic. You're doing whatever numbers you're happy with. Great. But we all know that, there's some sneaky things that go on, account suspensions, things happen. You're not building your own business. You're building a business for Amazon. If you get your account slashed tomorrow, there might be very little recourse for you, and you don't get the customer data because it's not your customers, it's Amazon's customers. So you're building a business on a one-legged stool. Now, I'm not saying to leave Amazon, by no means. I've, like everyone else, I've got that love-hate relationship with them, but you need to start building off of Amazon as well. And that's kind of what we're specializing with, the earned media, getting people top of the media and PR and news cycle. So even if you're still just building on Amazon for now, that's fine. You don't have to run out and start Shopify tomorrow, but just building that authority off of Amazon. We know Amazon loves those backlinks and offsite sales. So it's going to help your Amazon business, but it lays the foundation and it paves that road to building a brand off of Amazon and starting to get that diversity, because that's a hard thing to do. You open up a Shopify account tomorrow, it's usually crickets because you're responsible for your own traffic, and that's a totally different ballgame. So that's kind of where we're coming from in my philosophy and kind of what we're driving at. In terms of the Amazon editorial recommendations, I'm going to talk about two things, actually, Ryan. I'm going to talk about the Amazon editorial recommendations, and I'm going to talk about something else that is mostly looked over but is super powerful, and it's used in a different way. And now we've got strategies and we've got add-ons and things we do to both, but it's offsite articles as well. Again, those links can go back to Amazon. I'm not saying you have to be on Walmart.com or retail stores or Shopify. You can still do this with just Amazon, but it's a really, really exciting thing. Did you want to say something? Is that why you just popped in?
Oh, no, I'm here to let people know I haven't gone away. I'm still listening. I'm in the background. If everyone, if you don't see me, I'm still here. I'm just commenting, making posts and things like that. So self-producing, but also listening. Yeah, no, you made a good point. We were talking about hey, how do we want to frame this episode? Just a high level. And everyone knows we don't script the show. It's nothing that we have to touch on. But this is something that I think a lot of people are going to see bring value to, growing sales, growing brand awareness, and building that brand equity both on Amazon but also off Amazon. Because if 2020 taught us anything, at a snap of fingers, they can just not accept either. They can limit your product inventory. They can limit who's accepting inventory in FBA warehouses. They can suspend you at any point based upon their just any kind of content that you may or may not, if it infringes on their terms of service. So you're right. You are solely relying on Amazon for one or multiple things. And if one thing goes wrong, that's your business, right? So this is kind of to build and iterate from that, if you will. Yeah,
absolutely. And like I said, I'll talk a little bit about the offsite, which is incredibly exciting to me. And the offsite is really cool because you can do things you can't do with Amazon. So editorial recommendations, restricted products that Amazon won't run editorials for, supplements, that type of thing. You can get picked up offsite and drive those links back to Amazon. But let me just kind of back up here and actually, maybe what I'll do is, let me just explain them both first, and then I'll share my screen. I've got just a few slides I can
go through, for sure.
You can visually see. But
everyone, if you see or have a question like David, hey David, friend of the show, David Aon from Amazon Experts. If you have a question and you just want to say hi, feel free to drop us a note, and then we can kind of pick from there too. So yeah, go ahead, Shane, and if you have slides, go ahead and share them, and then or if you want to go ahead and do the description, we're all ears.
Yeah, I'll just do the description first. So Amazon editorial recommendations, as I'll show you in a second, is you type a keyword on Amazon. It's usually above the fold, comes up recommendations, and it's a third-party review article generally, and it features some different products, and you can click on it, and great. It gives you some extra real estate, and of course, that third-party authority by, whatever, Yoga Fit blog or whoever the on-site publisher is. About your product. So it's kind of like having a paid review at the top of the page in a way. And this is something called the On-Site Associates program. And these different publishers are in there, and they're, you can't be a, mom and pop blog.com and have 12 followers and get in. So, they're going to have some oomph. I don't know what their metrics are exactly, but they're decent sized publishers. So you've got that, and that's really cool. And we've got some very specific strategies we've worked out. Amazon editorial recommendations actually has its own algorithm too. It's a bit of a slow algorithm, but it's quite easy for us to spike. And on the other side, there's offsite editorials, or articles, we call them. And that's basically, there is some crossover with that group. There are some people who are in the on-site associates program who are also part of this other publisher group. But for the most part, it's its own group, and you'll get Wirecutter, all different kinds of big name publishers out there. And what they do is they will publish an article about your product, a review article, and they'll put it on their site. But the really cool thing is they love promotions. Now, as Amazon sellers, we're used to trying to not be promo or salesy at all. But hey, if you've got a discount, hey, the month of March, save 20% with March 20 off, or whatever your code is, or a special deal for a few days or whatever. This publisher isn't content to just let that content sit on their website. What they'll do is they will generally push it out. So they'll send it out to their email list. They might do mobile phone push notifications. They'll take Google ads out. They'll sometimes buy placements in review articles, because for them, it's a pure affiliate play. So they want this thing to do as well as possible, right? And we've got ways of spiking that as well. But what you can do with that is you can have the links go to your Shopify. You can go to Walmart.com or back to Amazon. And of course, Amazon, with the latest algorithm updates, a lot of people call it the A10 update, but it's only 9. Amazon's put a lot more emphasis on off-site traffic and sales, right? So a lot of people will do this strategy, even if they don't get a ton of extra sales directly from that promotion. They find it often boosts up their BSR and their keyword rankings and their overall Amazon ranking, which then results in a lot more organic sales. So anyways, let me just share my screen and I'll just kind of go through both. Let's see.
Yeah, and I'll bring it in for you once you add it to the screen.
Okay, I think here we are.
There you go.
Do you see my Amazon? Okay, cool.
Let's go. Yep. If you want to make that full screen too, it'll be able to see it a little bit better. And for everyone who wants to, who's watching us not in a live time too, we'll make sure that these kinds of presentations are linked under our social channels as well. So if you want to ask questions or if you need to see the content more in person, feel free to reach out to myself or Shane, or we'll make sure it gets posted on our site as well. So yeah, Shane, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, Ryan, do you want me to actually play this? I wasn't going to play the slides. I was just going to run through them, but I can.
Yeah, no, you can or make them full screen, however it makes you feel comfortable.
Okay, here, let's just.
Because we're on the side, we're talking heads on the side of the screen. That's the beauty of technology. It makes you real time and do it. So,
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to leave it like this just because I want to bounce around a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
If that's okay. Yeah. So, anyone who doesn't know, Amazon Editorial Recommendations are at the top of the page when you, here, let me just go to Amazon.com and I'm just going to come over here. And here's a screenshot of one. I think I typed in chef knife or something, but here, let me bring over my other screen. Oh, it's because it's full screen because Ryan made me go full screen.
Right. That's what I do.
This is what happens.
It's a part of going live and now editing. You get to see the background, how the sausage is made.
So I typed in here pool rake. I mean, I could type in silicone spatula. I can type in whatever the heck I want. And here comes results. There's a few results, and there it is. Editorial recommendations. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And here we can see a link to who wrote the article, which in this case is called Tough Jobs. Or I can click, and if I click this, it'll take me to the external site, right. to the Tough Jobs.
It pops up the tab because they don't want you to leave Amazon, right?
That's right. Sorry, yeah, I guess I didn't mean external.
Oh, no, you're good.
And then read full article. Here you can read the entire article. They've got a few different products they talk about. A lot of times, too, what happens with these is they'll often do a pros and cons. Okay. So one of the common questions I get is, well, do I have to write the article? Can I tell them what to write about? All these types of things. What keywords are going to rank for? When we do this, you're going to give us a few keywords, up to 3. They're usually going to go with the first one or the second one. Now, if this keyword isn't related, it's not going to happen. They're going to take it mostly from the title. I'm going to assume that the keyword you want to rank for is probably in your title. So it's going to be a title keyword. But no, you cannot write this article yourself. It's actually these guys, whoever the writer is, has to write it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a true editorial recommendation.
Right.
And we don't have control. So some people say, well, hey, they did this pros and cons. They have these 5 pros and they talked about 2 cons. Can we take those out? Nope, that's the way it goes. They take all the information from your product detail page. They're not going to look at your website. They're not going to look at anything else. They're just going to look at the product detail page because they have to work with the information that's displayed for other Amazon browsers. So that means your reviews too. So if you've got 4 or 5 reviews or 100 reviews or whatever that talk about the same, hey, the handle doesn't quite feel right in my hand or whatever it is, they might mention that. But here's the rub. They are not going to write a crappy article about your product because for them, it's an affiliate play, right? So they want it to look good. They're not going to review an article that they don't feel good about, they don't think it's going to do well, and isn't going to make them some affiliate commission. So for them, it's an affiliate play. Now, if I bring my screen back over here and I just let me just head back.
Yeah, you go ahead, and I'll kind of like add another comment too for those people who don't know. Like, again, assuming everyone knows what affiliate is, an affiliate person, and that this should be my realm of opportunity, right? An affiliate would be a company when someone like a shopper goes and clicks through that page and they make a purchase because you were listed in that editorial recommendation. That website, that whoever's writing that article will get a certain percentage of commissions based upon whatever is recommended or set beforehand, because Amazon looks at it as, hey, we are the ones who tilted the balance, pushed the customer over the edge, and this person should get credit for that purchase. So we're getting paid for those kinds of things. Other paid websites like affiliate websites are great. Like BuzzFeed, you'll notice like 100 different gifts you can buy on Amazon for less than $50 this Christmas season. All of those are going to link out to Amazon. All of those are trackable for the seller who's selling them. And for example, in cases like this, people can track where all those conversions are coming from. So if you get a lot of sales from BuzzFeed, you're going to keep pumping and pushing content to them. So the cycle continues. So anyways, Shane, go ahead.
Yeah, good point. And just an interesting thing to note here. So if I click on those tough jobs or where I just was looking at the article, and then I go over and I purchase one of the products that happens to be here as part of the editorial recommendations, it doesn't get cookied and attributed to this. It's only if I click on one of these. So if I click on this guy here, and that's really cool, and I decide to buy it, great. I get cookied, and this tough job site will get credit for that sale. Okay, and we give reporting at the end of the month, so you'll see all the sales you're getting for the keywords and all that stuff.
Why would? Yeah, I was gonna. That's my question for later, so we'll come back to that.
Yeah, cool. Now you can see here, there's 3 products visible. Okay, and they only show visibly 3. And usually if there's more products, there'll be a little arrow. They can usually have up to about 6. So our job is to get you here in these front 3, and that's what we try and do. So if I happen to go to, well, let's look at our good, our old friend Silicone Spatula, because we've been beating on that one for 6-7 years now. There they are. And oh, hang on, I can't believe there's not more over here. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is.
There's the arrow.
There it is, yeah. So I just click on the arrow and it'll just show a few more. Again, our job is to get you on those front 3. Okay. But a lot of times, so if I looked at, maybe it's just because we're streaming, it's a little bit slow, but if I looked at, if any of these products are, how do I say this? Typically, you'll see at least one of these products above the fold with it. Okay. In this case, I don't, which is kind of strange. Maybe I should have looked beforehand and found. But oftentimes you'll see if I type in pool rake or best pool rake or whatever the term or net, tool net, whatever I type in, oftentimes I'll see the product here like organically and then see it down here. And that's a really, really cool thing because you can have your ad showing up, you can have your organic, and you can have the editorial. It's sort of a trifecta of placements at the top. And again, remember, if I see editorial recommendations here and I happen to read the article or something, and I click on this one, even though it's here, it's not being attributed. So you're not losing any commission, right?
Yeah, that's if the same listing was right above it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a trust bar. If you're an off-branded website, it's a trust bar of, hey, this website touted this product. You should recommend, like, it's an easy like upsell or a boost of, content visibility.
I probably could have explained that a lot more eloquently, but I didn't. So there you go.
Hey, we're here. No, that's all good. No, it makes sense. And I think the takeaways for people to understand is, like, this is something that Amazon, I think, implemented pretty across the board, at least for .com. I want to say mid last year consistently. And those maybe my question for people, and if you have questions, everyone, go ahead and submit them. If those are for multiple keywords across like Amazon, can you do this for like every single obscure micro niche that's out there, or is this only available for very high volume search terms? Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, that does make sense. And it's really Amazon's discretion, and they do experiment. So right now, if you want to, a lot of beauty products, you're not going to be able to get it for. Supplements, no way. Keto, not going to happen. I had a customer who had electric dog shock collars. Nope, not going to happen. Anything political, nope. So there are certain areas which they just don't want to get into, and you won't get placements. But again, we've got the Offsite for that. At prREACH, we've got all kinds of nifty solutions that nobody else has. But if we're talking about articles, you can look at the Offsite options in that case. So I hope that answers your question. Now, the other thing too is we've got, and I'll get into this a little bit more. Just let me go through. I'll just kind of clean up on these. But we've got, I don't want to give away all our strategies. We've got some pretty neat ways of, I don't want to say manipulating, but in a way, I suppose we are. We're not doing anything in terms of service, but we're doing stuff that nobody else is doing with editorial recommendations. But let me just get through these, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So, obviously high visibility. We talked about the, it's funny, I did the same example for this picture. The third-party authority that's writing about you. You can read the article, and then, of course, you can click on any of those links. That's really cool. And this is just a sample of some of the, just publishers. These are what often the format will look like a typical review. Sometimes you get pros and cons, that type of thing. Now, the question I always get too is some people will say to me, "Oh, hey, Shane, you know what? I noticed that 6 months ago, I got an editorial recommendation." Like, yeah, that will absolutely happen, because these affiliates are looking for good products they can talk about and make commission. So they just chose your product. But guess what? You don't know a damn thing about it because you don't know what the reporting is, right?
Yeah, you don't know your reporting. You don't know when they placed it. Like, it's organic. Like, it's natural pickup. It's just like press, right? Or media. Like, it could organically happen because of a story that naturally happens, but you have no idea to like who's pushing it, how many places are pushing it, and which ones are doing well for you.
Yeah, exactly. And at least now, because I had a guy from Germany, Peter, I wonder if he's on the call. He messaged, he goes, I noticed we got one in the UK, a while ago for one of my major terms or ASINs. He goes, I didn't really notice if there was much of an increase, but I'm not sure when it showed up. And that's right. Here we can see, and we give you this reporting. We actually give you dashboard access. You just log in and you can check this out anytime. So I should probably change this from monthly reporting to just dynamic reporting. But you're going to know when your article went live. You get a very unique link with this, which we use all the time, and nobody seems to know about it. Nobody seems to use it. So it does wonders because it will help with your share of voice. So anyways, get transactions, the details. When the transaction happened, the keyword, all that type of stuff. So you understand where Amazon's showing it. You get the links, to go live date, and the share of voice. So that's how often. Remember when you saw those 3 products there? Some of them have more, 4, 5, 6 products. You're going to see how often yours is showing up because they rotate them, right? And the algorithm, it's got a very specific algorithm. It's going to show you different editorial recommendations than it will for me if there's enough editorial recommendations there,
right,
based on your browsing and your purchase history. So it does have its own algorithm, which we can spike. So here's a screenshot from one of our products. You can see it went live here at the end of October, and you could see a jump in the organic and PPC sales. Now, it comes back to what I was saying about that 24-hour cookie. If you're just doing PPC, you get 3 days or so on that cookie. If someone clicks on your ad and then they buy 2 days later, that's attributed to that ad. With this, it's only if they click right on the product itself, not on the read more, all that, to read full article, and it's only a 24-hour cookie. So I think it's immensely worth it to do, because if this was PPC, a lot of these sales would have been attributed to the article, where in this case they're not, because it's only a 24-hour cookie and it's a very specific way of clicking. So it does give you that extra exposure. And the really cool thing is, if you get an article published, that thing can stay there for years. It can.
I was going to say, unlike PPC, where you're constantly bidding on the term and you're paying to have it, stay there, editorial recommendations, those don't go away. They might get updated over time, but those articles live out there. It's natural link back to your product. And then obviously it's building that brand recognition for you. So I'm assuming that's kind of where you were going with that.
Yeah, 100%. And we will monthly, like we monitor your article. It's not just to set it and forget it. So if you have little changes to your product or color things, whatever, if that article needs to be updated, if anything material changed with your product that is not reflected in the article, we'll make those edits. Or if you're not getting very good share of voice, let's say you're only showing up 5% of the time, something crappy. Okay, we're going to either edit the article or we'll place a new one there for you. So we monitor those types of things with you as well to make sure that you're always showing up. The other really important thing, and I always like to say, it's a first mouse gets the cheese deal, because if you want to, I think Instapot is a really good example of, if you're selling like an Instapot type of cooker thing, forget it. You're not going to get an editorial recommendation for that term. That's full. It's been full for a long time. Once they get up to those 6 articles, that's it. There's nobody else getting in. It's a limited time thing, or it's a limited, availability thing. It's hard to dislodge someone once they're there. If their rankings just tank or they're out of inventory for a long time, sure, yep, they'll drop out and someone else can come in, sure enough. So I always recommend, it's better to get in there now, because it's hard to pull you down. And there are some parameters to getting placed there. If you've got a brand new product, it's not going on editorial recommendations, because you got to remember, this is an affiliate play for them, right? So, in general, 20 to 30K a month generating for your entire seller account. So brand new sellers, not going to happen. You should have at least 100 stars. I've seen it with less. Okay. You should be around the top 20% in your category. So if all your keywords are buried on page 6, ain't going to happen. Remember, it's an affiliate play. Okay. If you've got a 2-star rating, it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
These aren't hard and fast, but general sort of rules and guidelines to getting placed. So
is there a monthly sales velocity that you also have to achieve for them?
Well, being in the top 20% would take care of that sales velocity, because top 20% in scientific stuff versus beauty would be a lot different, or maybe something. So maybe they do have a number. I just don't know what that is.
That's fine.
But if you satisfy, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, I've heard numbers being thrown out there from just the articles I reached, like $30,000 a month in sales for that product. But again, I think that's a fluctuation of, depends on what category you're in.
Well, from my understanding, it's 20 to 30,000 a month in the seller account, not for the
gotcha. That's a good clarification then.
Yeah. And again, I've seen exceptions to all those rules, and maybe it just depends. Maybe the velocity, or who knows what their algorithm picked up.
It'll change. Knowing Amazon, it'll change.
Yeah, it certainly will. And the cool thing is if you go into a category, especially in the UK, right now, so we can place on .com, we can place in the UK, and the UK doesn't have a lot of editorial recommendations compared to .com. So there might be wide open categories. Let's say you're selling this pool net or pool rake. Hey, maybe you only got 1 or 2 other people even with articles there. Amazon might place you for keywords up the yin yang. Over time, that might get more and more narrow as more articles come into play. But we've got strategies where, hey, why don't we get you 2 placements for those editorial recommendations if we can?
Right.
Or here you are placed for pool rake. All right, let's go for pool net. for a completely different article. Like we'll start to get you lots of placements as well and monitor them. And if we've got multiple placements for the same keyword, for example, we'll monitor their share of voice, how often Amazon is showing those, and maybe pull the weak one or let them both run. Hey, if one's showing 25% and one's 32%, hey, maybe that's cool. It depends on how many other people are there, and there's a host of other factors, but that's something we can kind of work with and do.
Gotcha. Since we're an international show, you mentioned on UK you can have that placement. Where is Amazon allowing for all these kinds of recommendations to appear? Is it every marketplace in every country? Okay. Do you know a list of which ones they're not opening that up to yet?
I don't know the list. We were trying to get in with the publishing group in Germany so we could start publishing German ones as well. That isn't going as well as we had expected.
That's okay.
Right now it's just .com in the UK. Well, Germany as well, but for English.com in UK.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Canada has them yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. You know how things always launch on .com first, and then they grab
right. If it does well, they'll start rolling it out. I think that's the place where it starts, and then it starts to roll out to different marketplaces. So that's good to know. Like if you're starting to grow in international marketplaces, or you do sell in international marketplaces, to look and see if it's starting to appear. Is there a way to know, like, will Amazon notify you as a seller, or how do they like make that public knowledge? Do they talk to you as a PR agency, or it's just kind of a release and let them figure it out kind of mentality?
Yeah, I don't think they would, because most countries would have their own publishing group. Now there would be some crossover. So if you were in the UAE or Japan or something, Japan would have its own publishing group versus .com or Canada or Germany, obviously. So I think it's just one of those things. As a seller, you're looking all the time. How you're ranking. You're going to see those editorial pop up, but. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about that.
Oh no, that's okay.
I just don't know. Yeah.
Those are questions too. Like obviously as people like it evolves, and this is something that Amazon's kind of, I would say, newly releasing for sellers. So knowing all that information, knowing kind of the minimum quantities that you'll need to use to be as a seller to achieve these kinds of things, what's kind of that next step? Like you said for on-site, but we're also talking about off-site brand recognition. Is that a natural transition? Do you think that we can talk about like off-site articles and how that something very similar would help Amazon sellers as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about. So just before we go away here, I just went over to the UK. Oh, hang on, my address is.
I got it.
So maybe that's not going to work. But a lot of times you'll go over to the UK and you'll see there's no editorial recommendations there for certain products, just because nobody's bothered to do it yet, or it's just slowly catching on. So it's if you sell in the UK and you're doing all right, I would jump on this. I mean, I would jump on .com anyways, because again, you want to get there before other people do. Let them try and supplant you. Let's not do it the other way around. But so Offsite is really, really, really cool, and nobody takes us seriously for some reason. Now, for us, it's super awesome, because we do earned media. Like we're getting people media placements all the time. That's what we do, right? So you want to be in Martha Stewart magazine or an Entrepreneur or the Rob Report or whatever, that's what we work on for you, right? So you're always at the top of the news and the media cycle, and these links are driving to your page or your Amazon page or wherever you want them to go. You're building a brand, you're building authority, getting all the good love, all that great stuff that comes with building a brand. For us, Offsite is just sort of an extension of that. And what it is it's just exactly like on-site. You got these third party, high authority people. And here I just took 3 screens. We got Digital Trends, we got Wirecutter. I mean, everybody knows Wirecutter nowadays, and Best Reviews. I just grabbed 3, and those are 3 partners there. And these are 3 actual articles that they did. And for them, as I mentioned, it's an affiliate play. So if you've got your silicone spatula, or especially if you sell supplements or things that you're always hard to promote because nobody wants to carry, we can often find publishers to carry that. And especially if you've got some sales, promos, discounts, or whatever, they love it because they're pushing out to their audience, giving their audience a deal. So they're like the hero, right? But it's an affiliate play for them. And what they will do is they will do things like this. Like you can see they took out an ad here in Buyer's Guide, sending out some push notifications, various social media. So they're going to, and it might depend on the level of the affiliate commission or sorry, not the affiliate commission, the price of the product. They might make more of an effort. If you sell an electric massager for $299, they might put a little more oomph behind it versus something for $19.99, right? Because on the affiliate side, they're going to make more. I don't have any parameters from that. Every publisher is going to be different.
Sure.
So that's what they're doing is they're pushing this out for you. And again, you can drive those links wherever you want. Drive them back to Amazon, drive them to your Shopify, wherever you like. But you're allowed to play in a different sandbox, and that's really cool. And because we're a PR company, I'm actually rolling out some packages I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks where we can do enhanced launches. So once we get you placed, we're going to go the extra mile. We're going to take this. Let's say you get published in Wirecutter. Oh my God, that's so awesome. I mean, I've seen Wirecutter blow up businesses, right? It's like a TikTok influencer picks you up and blow up. I've seen it blow up.
Exactly.
But what we can do is we can get other PR pointing at that to enhance it even more. And the idea is that what we do is you come to me with your product. If we can blow it out of the water, what do you think they're going to think about 3 months when you resubmit that product again or another product you have? They're going to be like, oh yeah, Ryan.co, that company killed it for us. We're going to keep going with them instead of your competitors. That's our philosophy there is just because we're a PR company, we have that ability to add extra juice and get extra eyeballs on those things. So that's something we're coming out with. Something else I wanted to mention about, but I can't remember. That's okay.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, actually, I think the benefits are more threefold, but a lot of people will do this just for the traffic and sales is going to generate from that publisher. Now, I've seen some of come up flat, not get all that much attention at all. I've seen others blow it up. It really comes down to the product. It comes down to the publisher, the time of year, all those types of things. And if you're selling Halloween masks in April and someone decides to pick you up for some weird reason, I wouldn't expect that to blow up. Typically, it's a little harder to get people published off-site than it is on Amazon. We only have about maybe a 40% rate right now, 35 to 40% placement rate right now, because the publishers are a little bit more niche specific generally. Okay. So what I do is I have a different strategy for offsite. These are kind of shorter term, kind of intense blasts. I kind of view them a little bit like a lightning deal in a way, because they give you a really nice halo. If you're driving those links back to Amazon, again, you might not get a ton of sales from that published articles. You might, but even if you don't, it gives your Amazon listing a really nice boost, a really nice halo. And a lot of people just do it for that. So I like to set things up where every single month, let's say you've got 10 ASINs. Okay, we're going to put it on a spreadsheet. Everybody knows that we've only got, 35, 40, 30% chance of getting you published in a particular month. So if you give me 10 ASINs every single month, I'll keep pushing those out to the publishing group, and we're adding new publishers all the time. And any new updates or, sales or promos you have, I'm going to update that thing. So XYZ publisher sees this, oh, hey, 30% off this month or for these 2 days or for Mother's Day or whatever it happens to be, they're going to run that and go with it. Out of those 10 ASINs, maybe I only get 2 published one month. Another month, maybe I'll get 4 published. It just depends. But that way, they're always something. Every single month, I can usually get something happening for you, right? Driving those links back. So it's this continuous process of these beautiful, beautiful high authority offsite sales and links coming back. And of course, if you're on top of your game, you're running your brand, if you get, let's just use Wirecutter for example, because everybody knows it. If you get that kind of a publication, share it on your social media, put it in your newsletter. Like I would squeeze every drop of juice out of that as we can.
I was gonna say, is there an ability to is there ways to kind of with the program, are you able to use like name recognition, icons, things like that, or like logos within those kinds of features?
I
Like,
would.
what's Amazon's TOS on that?
Yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with Amazon. Sorry, so you mean showing that like Wirecutter or something on your Amazon?
Oh, well, not even that, but just like on social proof, like if it's offsite, we're talking about offsite right now. Do they allow that?
Yeah, I mean, technically they don't. So we've had this question come up a lot, even like with press releases. Hey, if NBC published in the Wall Street Journal, can I publish that?
Like an as featured in kind of deal.
But the thing is all these publishers want that recognition, and if they publish you, why wouldn't they want it? So if you're going to add more sales to Wirecutter because you're like, hey, Jigger, we're featured on Wirecutter over the next 2 weeks, get this deal now, or whatever you want to put in your social, great, add it to your newsletter, whatever you want to do. And again, us as a PR company, we're going to see if, maybe we can get some influencers, maybe we can, or maybe influencers you work with right now, guest posts, guest bloggers, whatever. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at it, and you can too, to try and get more and more love. Then again, that publisher, next time you come up in rotation with a good deal, they might be all over doing it for you because they know they get really good results comparatively versus a competitor.
So when these lists, are there more like seasonal focused? Like, do you think conversions that are doing better than others, like you said, Christmas, Mother's Day, like very like typical seasonal holidays?
Absolutely, because Martha Stewart, or maybe I shouldn't do that because they're not actually. I don't think they're a member of the publishing group. But if you've got like a home and garden style thing, or you've got a yoga thing, or you've got flowers and candy type of whatever their kind of theme is, and not all of them are like that. I mean, Wirecutter, it covers everything, all kinds of stuff, right? But some are very focused, more niche focused, and they're not going to go outside their niche. If they're an automotive focus, they're not going to be talking about flowers and candy. So that's why it's a little tougher for us to get you placed there regularly. But yes, absolutely. And we always say to people, I mean, I think you should have this in rotation every month, but at worst case scenario, do it quarterly, because every quarter there is a holiday, a big holiday you can take advantage of. Now, maybe you don't sell all that well around Valentine's Day, fine. Father's Day, Mother's Day, July 1st, back to school. See, there's so many holidays. And yes, if you've got products that are centered around that, that's when those magazines want to push that and promote, because that's when the interest is. So absolutely, I would go with a seasonality and with those holidays. It's very, very important.
Awesome. I mean, that's good. Do you, my other question that brought up, can you launch products through these kinds of efforts? What is it? Is there a way to do that?
No, not really, because they already have to have the metrics there.
The product itself has to have the metric, even though like I brought, I was successful to you. There's no way to like work with a same publisher is like, hey, I'm launching these products. There's no way to do that, right? That's where they draw the line.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you meant like a new product. And let me just clear this up. So are you saying if I'm launching a new product, can I approach these publishers?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, not really, no, because the product itself won't have any metrics. So
Gotcha.
They're not going to see, he's got no sales history. Well, we want to promote it. We want to make money, right? So it's the same with Amazon Editorial Recommendations, right? You might have a fantastic account, but if you're launching a brand new product, they don't see those metrics.
So this is almost like the icing on top of the cake. Like you need the cake first before you put this on top and make it more. Okay, makes sense.
Give it some power. Now, and that goes back to those general guidelines I talked about. Remember when I said, hey, I've seen products come in there that have much less than 100 reviews and they still got information. Well, that might have been because that account was a kick-ass account and they've got so many dynamic products that even though this one only had 60 reviews, they're like, screw it. Hey, this is, a really great product. It's got great velocity. It's got great sales. Let's just run it. Maybe. Who knows why? That could be a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, if they're doing $1 million a month, then hey, we'll bet on this horse.
Sure. I mean, that makes more sense. Well, cool. No, I mean, obviously this makes like brand equity valuable in multiple facets, right? You're doing it offsite, so it's building and sending traffic to your website. They're actually bidding on your behalf and putting money. And that's a cool thing about this, I think, and that people can take away is they're putting paid media in place so that people go to their website, but also can convert for your product because you're paying them a commission. They're going to earn it back some way, shape, or form, but they're doing that on your behalf, and you may not have that reach. So they're putting the legwork in for you. They're going to optimize it for you. They're going to say like, hey, point, and they're pointing to that direction to you. That's why it's important to have like relationships with PR companies. Doing this all yourself is just more time, work, effort. Seems like it's having the relationships that are, you need to have to be successful, obviously, or you get really lucky and you just chalk it up to luck, right? Those are the two options. Either have people that can work on behalf, or you get lucky and you get picked up and see success that way.
And the thing with getting lucky, and that's fine, but you have no idea what's going on. How many sales did you get to this? You have no idea. And I mean, ideally, you should use them both together. Right. They're an absolute powerhouse 1-2 punch. And just here, if this last slide I have, this is just one of the reports for Offsite, right? So it's just showing the day, date shipped, ASIN category, number of units, price. It came from iPhone desktop, the Offsite publisher. It'll detail it. So there is reporting. It's not as robust as the Amazon reporting, because the Amazon reporting we've got a lot more. But I mean, everything's tracked, right? Because it has to be tracked, otherwise they wouldn't know what they're making, right? So that's to me the one of the real big benefits is that reporting that you get to see, where you can measure that impact. Again, it comes down to a product level. I've seen products kill it. I've seen products just kind of be flatlined. Pricing, conversion, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons, but we can manipulate that share of voice and how often you're getting seen too. Plus, we've got, like I said, these enhanced packages we'll be rolling out where we're going to add some extra oomph. So we're going to use their links. We're going to get that out to some of the high authority sites, start driving some love. So Amazon says, hey, look at all these, people coming and check this out. We're going to keep showing them more and more. Basically a mini version of your typical launch and rank strategy, but just specifically on editorial recommendations.
Awesome. So I know we're coming close to the top of the hour, Shane, because we're just constantly talking about, like, we can go deep dive even more. What do you think is the percentage of sellers who are taking advantage of something like these kinds of efforts? If you had to guess, it's 1%. Pretty small right now, right?
Yeah, maybe 1%, maybe less.
So for Amazon sellers who are looking to take their products in their storefront to the next level, if you have a consistent, you're trying to incrementally grow that, this is something for them to absolutely check into.
Absolutely. Yeah. I even know really big sellers, guys who are doing, 9 figures who were like, oh, I didn't realize it. I could get recommendations. Like, how can you sell this much and not now? But it has become a little bit more hot of a topic over the last few months. So it's obviously getting a lot more exposure because when it first came out, it took us a long time to figure out how to crack the code of editorial recommendations. It seemed like a fluke, and it seemed to bust into that on-site associates program was kind of a hard thing to do.
Right.
But yeah, now that the code's been cracked, we're all over it. And again, it's something that I wouldn't wait on. If your product is eligible to show up there, I'd get their place soon rather than later, because once the spots are full, that's it. Right. You got to wait your turn after that.
So is there something with this kind of, like, obviously it's in the early stages. Do you think there's space for Amazon to kind of like iterate and grow and kind of like enhance on top of it? Is it more spots, or is like, hey, these are our best reviewed ones and these are the best like selling ones? I know they kind of like put little subtitles like, this is our overall pick, this is the next best get. Do you think that there's other spaces for them to iterate within this kind of this niche?
Yeah, I absolutely think they're going to. We know that Amazon, all they do is experiment, and they just want to milk everything as much as they can. Mm-hmm. And I guess we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised to see more of these start to show up. Amazon has talked about how they want to build communities. We've been using Amazon posts very successfully for the last year or more, whenever they came out. I guess it must have just been over a year ago. And Amazon, for those that don't know, that's kind of Amazon's social media,
right?
Which is constantly changing. I mean, they tried a program a few years back, which failed, but they want to get more community involvement. And I wouldn't be surprised to see these start to tie in there, or as you say, have other placements show up. And we all know videos making a charge, and more video placements are coming up. So will some of these maybe evolve into video? I don't know, or tie into live streams. Who knows what they got going on? But yeah, I don't think they're going away. That's for sure.
I was going to say, I think video is like the natural next step of if you're going to do, because within listings, I don't know the technical terms of everything, but you see like YouTube videos get tied to certain products of like best reviewed at the bottom. Like if you scroll down far enough, you'll see like video social proof of like you make a list, someone on YouTube or some other external traffic is making their list and your product shows up on this. I think it's on the same vein, but you would think it would serve up within organic rankings instead of just within the product listing itself.
Yeah. And, something really interesting that happened too is at the end of summer, beginning of the autumn, when they made that last algorithm update, like what I call the A10, is now off-site sales and traffic has 3 times more weight than PPC. Why do they do that? There's a reason why. So that's why I think, hey, maybe you can't get into editorial recommendations, or you only got one editorial there. That's fine. These off-site, I think, are just a wonderful, like, bam, bam, bam. Like I keep rolling them over every month or every quarter at worst. Not all of them are going to, change your business forever, but you'll get them hitting, and it builds a lot of authority, especially if you're sharing it on social, and it starts to build that brand authority for you. And I just think that people are crazy to not leverage it personally.
Absolutely. Especially in the offsite part, I think where I know you're super excited about, and I am too, of how do you diversify your business? How do you grow, not just within Amazon, but also outside of Amazon? Amazon is very important in terms of the traffic, the sales, the velocity, where people and eyeballs are. But obviously, if something does happen, as we iterated earlier in the show, you can't always just rely on one-legged stool. You need to be balanced in all those different facets. Do you, in terms of the social proof, are you seeing maybe thinking of it in terms of like how they're growing on a brand side? Are you seeing an exponential growth in like social, like likes or page views or just other products? Does that carry over into different kinds of product sales and an uplift as well as that one product that might be featured?
Yeah, I think generally people see, and I'll call it that halo, where they'll just get a lot more exposure. We'll see sales increase for other products as well. If you get a high authority placement, like a Wirecutter or best reviews or something like that, it's going to drive traffic. It's going to drive traffic. Maybe your product is grossly overpriced for some reason, and it doesn't convert as well as you want. Well, that happens. But people are going to look around, and you are going to get that halo effect. As we all know, a lot of people will often use Amazon as a stepping stone or comparative shopping. So they'll see something on Amazon, they're like, oh, who's this Ryan Co. guys? And they'll Google it. You show up on Google. Okay, they look legit. There's a Shopify store. You've got, oftentimes 2 offers. Buy it on Amazon or buy it here. You can have your own funnel. Start to build your list. Or for people who are more comfortable on Amazon, they buy on Amazon. That's awesome. That's what I love, because we're not abandoning Amazon. We're still saying traffic. Right. You're still building your list. You're building that authority, and your Google searches are going to go up. As you get these placements, especially if you get them regularly, you will get halo effect on other products. Social following, I don't know. Nobody's reported to us on that, but that would be an interesting metric to measure.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, once you get featured, I mean, just like all ships rise, right? The whole, if your brand recognized in a bunch of different places, you're like, hey, maybe they'll talk about different things. Just a general overview, you're like, yeah, that looks great, follow, or something like that, and you can then serve ads as an organic kind of growth metric. That would be interesting to look into for sure.
We've got some super ninja stuff too, like that we're not going to get into because it'll take hours. But
you and I are like dated. Like we dive into that stuff quite deep for sure.
But we can also target influencers. If let's say you show up in Wirecutter in the month of March, we can target influencers and tell them about it and get them to post. Like we can do all kinds of cool stuff that other people can't with their, because we're a PR company.
For sure.
But yeah, let's just suffice to say that it's a great starting point. Even if you don't have the bells and whistles on, it's going to get you authority exposure. It will increase your traffic and sales. Not everyone's going to knock it out of the park. It just depends on a bunch of different factors, but it's it's an essential tool, I think, to have in your tool belt.
100%. Like I don't see any negatives to this. I only positives and growth. And even if you're just, not seeing a sales increment, like it's building your brand equity, which again, kind of snowballs into other different things down the road. So yeah, I think that's a cool way to kind of leave this talk, Shane. Before, while people are obviously like curious if they're hearing this at a different time, it's Monday. A lot of people are like just waking up on the West Coast, at least here in the United States. They're probably like, gosh, I missed like part of that talk or want to learn more information. Where do people need to go to get that kind of content, to contact you or learn more?
Yeah, well, you can email me, shane@prreach.com. That's cool. I'm happy to talk to you, or grow@prreach.com, and it will eventually make its way to me. We do have a web page that is actually not quite ready. It's live. You can go to er.prreach.com. Some of the links aren't working. Things aren't quite lined up. So don't go there and say, oh, these guys are crazy. No, we're not crazy. I just haven't gotten into it yet. And the holidays throw a monkey wrench in. But over the next 2 or 3 days, what is it? It's the 4th today? Yeah, it's January.
Yeah, it's the 4th. It's already the 4th. We're already 4 days into 2021. What's going on?
I know. But within the next few days, that'll all be cleaned up. But at the end of the day, usually people want to chat with me about it anyways. But I don't want to get deluged with calls. But that site will be cleaned up in the next couple of days. So you can go to er.prreach.com, and with the next 2 days or so, we should have that a little bit more spiffy with working links.
And either Shane or myself will post those in the comments of these videos, either on YouTube, again, LinkedIn. This is located on all of our social networks. Go ahead and you can find them there. Or again, tag us in one of these comments that you're watching this video. We'll make sure you get hooked up for more questions or comments directly. But I think like this is a great way to kick off 2021. I'm super excited about the content and the growth for e-commerce and on Amazon in general. I think this is one of the main pillars that a lot of people are going to really start to have to dive into to see that next level grow. And I know you guys you're going to take a lot of people there. So I'm super excited for you guys, what you have for 2021. Maybe before we end the show, what was your favorite moment of the holiday season? I would say like Christmas, New Year's. What was your favorite moment?
You know what? I'm kind of old-fashioned, and I like just curling up at night in front of the fire and watching classic Christmas shows, like It's a Wonderful Life, and I try to watch as many of them each year as I can, and I rotate through some. But yeah, that's my favorite Christmas one.
No, that sounds wonderful. I mean, just like consuming and kind of staying in. This year was like nice, not traveling. I think it was a little hectic for a lot of people, but I think it kind of brought a nice end of the year and kind of like, all right, let's start fresh. Let's start new. Obviously, hopefully, a lot of people are hoping for a better year in terms of like in-person kind of events and things like that. But it is what it is. But we're kicking off the right way, like content that bringing knowledge here on this show. So Shane, thank you so much. I know we're constantly chatting about different kinds of content and ways to, get in front of people and different ideologies. So I'm super excited to have you on as one of our first recurring guests on the show. So that's awesome. Like a friend of the show is always welcome to kind of chat and talk different topics on Amazon or e-commerce. So thank you so much for joining us today. I know you got to go. You have a lot of things you're building out and working on behind the scenes over there. So we appreciate you and your time here. Again, anytime you want to hop on back, just let me know.
Thanks, Ryan. Always appreciate it, man.
Yeah. And again, everyone, we're going to be live every single day this week. I'm going to go ahead and single out Shane. For those of you who are, again, new to the show, this is season 2. We're live almost every single day each week, especially in January. I feel like we have 20 plus shows lined up already. So come back, watch us live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. However, we're on Periscope, believe it or not. So if you're on all those channels, we're going to be going live at certain channels. Subscribe, like, all the content that you share. If you have questions, feedback, whatever it is, go ahead and put those in the comments. We'll be sure to kind of grow this podcast, grow these videos as we continue through 2021. But for Shane and myself, my name is Ryan Kramer. This is Crossover Commerce. We'll go ahead and see you guys later this week.